Hello, my amazing tarot friends. It's Justin Michael. Welcome back to my channel. And of course, welcome if this is your first time visiting. I hope you're staying well. I have a couple of TDMs to show you today, Tarot de Marseille. Primarily want to talk about the Nicolas Rolichon deck by Marco Benedetti, but I also have his Rosenwald here, which I'll show you at the end of the video. So I just want to tell you a little bit about Nicolas Rolichon at first, or the little bit that I know. So Rolichon, it was discovered a couple of years ago. So there's no surviving deck of this, of a Rolichon in any museum anywhere. What happened was, at least not one that was used, traditionally. What happened was the card makers used to also print books. They would use the leftover tarot sheets in the jackets and the book covers, you know what I mean, in the binding. And they were taking down a book, and they discovered these old tarot sheets, and it was the Nicolas Rolichon. I don't know much other than that. I don't know how many cards out of 78 survived. I do know that, Pablo Robledo and Octavio Perez, primarily Octavio, Tarot Talvo, he designed a deck and Robledo did the colors. They have 22 majors, 4 aces, and the 2 of pentacles. So I don't know that they had a full deck available, but Marco Benedetti may very well have added some pips to it, or, he may have had a certain amount of pips and then just this, based on the style of it, added the pips. I don't know how it worked. I really don't. But so this is a really interesting deck for many reasons. One of which is that, it's supposed to be older than John Dodal, and it looks so much like John Dodal. It's in the same tradition. It's the same canon, you know what I mean? For the most part, there are some differences, which I'm going to point out to you to the best of my ability. But I just want to show you this deck. So this is, again, Game Crafter. You can get his version through him, and like I said, I will leave that information below. I just want to show you. So these are the boxes that come from Game Crafter. I guess they're made for like a lot of cards, so they make them all one size, and they don't really fit all that well. Like, there's a lot of space. What I do is, I just add a piece of foam in there, and that keeps it from bouncing around a little bit. That's helped me. So the card quality from Game Crafter was better than I expected. I didn't expect it to be this good because I heard some mixed reviews on it. I heard it wasn't that great. I actually like it. I think it's a really good card stock. It's very similar to what you get from Make Playing Cards. I think it may be a little thicker than what I've gotten from Make Playing Cards. It's different. It's a different kind of card stock, but I like it. And it'll work well for a deck that's being used. I also like that you can feel the ink on the back. It's like raised almost. It just has like a really nice feeling to it. So I want to show you this. Okay, this is the 2 of Pentacles, just to give you an idea. This is the Nicolas Rolichon. So this is what we're looking at. And then we're going to take a look at, and the backs, obviously you saw really, really nice historic backs. And we're going to take a look at the Magician. Now, I do have another Robledo deck. I'm sorry. It is a Robledo deck in a way. It's Octavio Perez and Pablo Robledo, but it's Rolichon. And I want to show you also. So these are the 2 Rolichon decks that I have. This is the 2 of Pentacles, by the way. So it's the same 2 of Pentacles that we just looked at. Aside from the beautiful colors in Pablo Robledo's deck, and I really, really love this. I love this deck for so many reasons. One, because it's a smaller deck, you know what I mean, and I really wish they would do a full size deck. And I don't know why they haven't. They may not have all 78 cards, but I like the feel of the card stock. It's just cut really well. It's got a homemade kind of old school quality to it. Not homemade, but it's very almost homemade, It's got a really nice quality to it that I like. The cards feel really nice. So I really like this one. But like I said, Marco Benedetti, I think, published the first one because I remember reading Sherryl Smith's article about it, So now this is a John Dodal. This is from Sullivan Hismans. And I just want to give you an idea of why people compare it to the Dodal, because it looks just like it. I mean, almost the same facial expression, especially in the Magician. And I feel like the Magician and the Fool are like the two cards that people really look at. There are some differences I'm going to show you, but yeah, I was going to maybe pull out the Fleur Noir, but I think one Dodal will be fine. So just right away you can see, you know, very, very similar, but if you look at the table, you can see, you know, the Dodal has a glass, you know, not like a solid cup. And, you know, there's some other things too, you know, small things. But for the most part, it's the same tradition, similar coloring, you know, the buttons, down the stripe down in the front, you know, so. And of course, just the little details. And it is in a totally different art style. So, and then we're going to look at the High Priestess. So, one thing I noticed about this deck, and it's not a complaint because, you know, it's better than... I have a feeling that when Benedetti made this deck, you know, Nicolas Rolichon was relatively unheard of. And I don't know how his version looks. This is the Game Crafter version. I just thought the colors were a bit, I don't know, it was like dull or something. And maybe that's what he was going for. I don't know, because I'm not here to criticize people. Like, I'm showing decks that I like. I'm not criticizing artists at all. Like, I don't like to do that, and that's not what that is. It's not a criticism. It just is an observation. It's just a bit on the dull side, color-wise. Especially, I guess, next to this one, which, you know, I guess... you know, Pablo Robledo is known for his colors, and so is Sullivan Hisman, by the way. They're both really great colors. I mean, I love the colors in the Sullivan Hisman's deck. The olive green and the blues and everything is really beautiful. So this is the Dodal again, and these two are Rolichons. I'm just trying to give you an idea of, you know, how similar of a deck it is. It's part of the same tradition, basically. Okay, so we're going to go a little faster, hopefully. Just trying to get organized here. Okay, so we have the Empress, and you can see, you know, these two are almost identical, aside from color and detail and clarity and so forth, but pretty similar, you know. And then you have, that's the Dodal. It's really interesting, you know, to see the subtle differences. I just want to see something real quick. So this is the Empress. So that's Jean-Claude Fleur Noir. Okay, I don't know if you can see that, but it's the thing about the Fleur Noir decks. It's, you can tell it's been colored by computer. At least it looks to me as if it has. Whereas Sullivan Hisman's deck is, you know, it's a much more old school. It has like the stenciling kind of look to it, stencil colors. But you know, I like both decks. I really do. And then here's the Emperor. I mean, the facial expressions are slightly different. You know, they both have the number 4, which is typical in, you know, what they call Type 1, which is the Dodal sort of John Pan lineage. And let's take a look at the Hierophant. Now, the Hierophant's one, forgive me, the Pope. I do that all the time. You can tell I came from the Rider-Waite-Smith club, you know. I learned to read tarot through Rider-Waite-Smith, and I forever call the Pope the Hierophant. Forgive me. I know that's blasphemy. Literally. But, so literally blasphemy. One of my favorite cards in the Dodal style, you know, in this style, the Nicolas Rolichon. I just like the look of it. It's very, very interesting, particularly the Rolichon. Like, I love the face of the Rolichon. He kind of looks like, it's just like a cartoon character. I don't know. I just really, really like it. He's a very lovable character. So, but for the most part, I mean, all the symbols are there. They're relatively the same. There's like an arrow or something there. Maybe just a crease or an F or something there, and it's not there. But and the line work is obviously different. It's a different artist, but it's very similar too. Has the same essence. Now we're looking at the lovers. So this is interesting because the lovers again is another one of it's on the checklist of the type 1, type 2 thing, and they both have angels flying from the right to the left. And it's flying in a different direction, but different face, like totally different faces in the lovers, in the characters, I mean. So let's take a look at the chariot. I'm going to try and do this a little quicker because, I do want to show you the Rosenwald as well. So now, the one interesting thing I noticed right away was, with the Rolichon, you have NR, the initials. You don't have anything here. It's a blank box, and I believe that's one of the items also that people check off as different from the Tarot de Marseille. The historic Tarot de Marseille, like the Convert and so forth. So that's interesting. But other than that, it's very similar. Other than the face, the face is very different. But same thing is going on in the picture. Justice is another interesting one too, because, well, let's take a look. So totally different facial expressions. She looks like she's in a state of shock. She's appalled, maybe, like she just can't, or she's indifferent. She just doesn't have any sort of reaction. Let me just get an idea what. Let's see here. So that's Justice in Fleur Noir. Same thing, kind of like, like a look of like emptiness or something, I don't know that was on purpose or if that is just synchronistic, but, she's impartial, Lady Justice. She doesn't have an opinion. She's other than the truth. She doesn't favor one side or the other. In this card, she looks a little more pissed off, Nicolas Rolichon. I did notice that, and there are some subtlety differences too, like the breasts, obviously you can see, are slightly different, and yeah, but otherwise very, very similar. Yeah, it's really interesting deck of cards. Okay, so we are on the Hermit. So it's a nice deck. It's a cool deck. It has its own personality. There are some subtle differences, particularly in the facial expression and the colors. By the way, the Sullivan Hisman's deck is great. Color-wise, he's done really, really beautiful job coloring that deck. It's a beautiful deck. The only thing is, it was missing the World card when I got it, and I didn't notice it until recently. But Sullivan Hisman's has been awesome, and he is sending one out. Hopefully, sending out Monday, so I should be getting it soon. And so the wheel. You get the idea. So just a beautiful deck. I mean, I'm very, very happy to have this in my collection because of its historical significance, number one. Now, here's a really big difference, okay? So you have this writing in there, and I hope some of my fellow Marseille nerds will break that down, especially people familiar with the Dodali. But I don't know what that says. It's FPLETP ANGE. I don't know what that says. I've never looked it up, but it doesn't exist in the Rolichon. And then we have the Hangman, Le Pendu. This is one of my favorite hangmen ever in this particular deck. I like both of these, but you know, the colors and just his position, the tongue's out. I really, really love the Dodal type hangman. It's one of my favorite tarot cards ever. And you can see the similarities, you know. And then here we are with Death. Now Death is very different, you know, in the Dodal. I mean, you have different heads. He's facing the other way. So that's one of the things that, you know, jumped out at me. And let's look at Temperance. So mostly colors and facial expressions. It's cool, you know. I like doing these types of comparisons, lining them up and just looking and seeing, you know, what jumps out at you. Now the Devil is probably the most famous, you know, checkbox on the Type 1, Type 2 test or whatever, you know. The traditional Tarot de Marseille and like the Nicolas Convert and so forth, they don't have a face in the belly. And I find that I actually love this particular Devil. I think it's one of my favorites. So, there's a couple of them, you know. I like the Fairy Creature, the Swiss Devil as well. You see in Tarot Classic and all. And I think in Bordeaux, or yeah, it's very I think it might be in Bordeaux. I'm not sure. Bordeaux is very close to, I can't remember. You know, there's so many of them. You get them all confused. Here's the Tower. La Maison d'Eve, the House of God. Which is very interesting, you know. Not quite sure what that means, you know, House of God, if they call that, you know, maybe because people were locked in the tower, you know, and it was like prisons, you know, like the Bastille, for instance, you know, and maybe that's where you went for redemption, you know, to repent for your sins. I don't know. That's a guess. So, but it'll be interesting to see your comments down below if that interests you. And we have the star. Now, I'm very partial to the Nicolas Rolichon star versus the Dolly. You know, particularly this one. It's a beautiful star card in this Rolichon. I love it. The colors, the facial expressions, that, you know, the character. It's just it's got a beautiful vibe to it. This one's a little strange for the star. You know, it's like, I don't know if it captures the star energy so much for me. I mean, I do know it's a historic deck and it's not a modern tarot deck or whatever. And, you know, they knew nothing of like the new age meanings of the cards back then. But, you know, I feel like this star card captures the star very, very well. And this to some extent, but this was one of my favorites, like I said. Okay, and so we have the moon. We're getting there. You know, totally different face in the moon. Animals are facing the same way, doing the same stuff, you know, same symbolism, but, you know, subtle differences, mostly in detail. And here is the sun. You know, this is like blockier, like the artwork for some reason. It's Very interesting. I was trying to remember something that somebody told me about the Sun card, the 2 characters, that I can't remember now. Judgment. And the world. And like I said, my world card is missing from this deck. So let me show you the world from the Fleur Noir. Okay. Okay, so that's John Claude Fleur Noir. Now this is very similar to the Dodali. It's the same deck, essentially. It's just colored differently, you know. So it's got that writing again on the side and Le Monde. So that's the Nicolas Rolichon. Now I'm going to show you the pips because, you know, I'm not going to show you the pips for the Dodali. I'm going to save that. Oh, wait, let me show you the full. Duh. I'll show you the full, huh? Sorry. It's one of the most important cards in the deck. So, you got it. Now, I want to show you something here. Now, I did show you the 2 of Pentacles from this deck and this deck, so we're going to take a look. Now, there's only 4 more cards in the, you know, the Robledo Perez deck. You know, you have the 4 aces and the 2 of Pentacles plus the 22 majors. That's it. Really beautiful deck. And like I said, I wish they would do a full deck like this. It's so nice. Card quality is so nice. It feels nice. It has this like beautiful quality to it. Like feels so matte and like silky almost. And the colors just shine through so nicely. And it's a perfect size. It's a perfect size. I would love to have a deck like that. Full deck. I just wanted to show you. Okay, so here's the other ace. Okay. I guess I could have showed you in the comparison, but it doesn't matter. You get the idea. It's the same deck. And I'm just going to show you this quickly because, you know, I want to show you the other deck. So the core cards. It's a nice deck. You know, it's a nice little deck. It's a historic deck. I like having it in my collection. You know, when I do comparisons, I often don't show the core cards or the pips in comparisons because it's just, I feel like it's too much, and I feel like the majors are like the most important work anyway, but I feel like I should throw in the core cards and some of the pips too. So I'll do that sometime, but they're very, very similar to Dodal, you know. And oh, that's the Nicolas Rolichon. And I'm glad I got it, you know. I'm sure his deck, his version would probably be nicer. I don't know that for sure. But now let me show you the Rosenwald. So this is a deck, it's a very interesting deck. You know, it's a similar type box. Has the same issue, you know. I got to put a piece of foam in there. I love the backs of this. So this is not really a Tarot de Marseille, you know. This is more like a, you know, Tarocchi from Italy, an early tarot deck. These are the backs, and he does a version where he has these backs that fold over and they make borders, and they're really, really beautiful. They're very expensive because it's time consuming. It's a lot of work for him, and he hand makes everything. And Sherryl Smith was showing them on my channel, and I really, really like them. They were beautiful. I don't know that I'll buy a deck because I don't mind spending that much money on a deck if I have the money at the time and I'm going to use the deck, or I'm going to like it's something I really, really want. But I'm happy I already have a copy of this. I don't need that. So one thing I noticed about this was it seemed very pixelated to me. But I think it's just the art style, and I sat with it a little bit, and it has like a charm to it. It's almost like I can't really explain it, like almost like video game characters or something. Like it has like just a pixelated kind of quality to it, and I also think it probably had to do with the facsimile as well. So I don't really know, but I do like it. I like the minimalism of this deck. It's very simplistic. You know, you don't have a whole lot except the character kind of holding, like she's, you know, the papess has the key, you know, the papal key. She's the female pope, and then we have the empress, the emperor, and here is the pope. Almost called him the Hierophant again. The papal tiara, and then the lovers. Very interesting lovers card. You know, very different. Chariot as well. So it's a cute deck. It really is. It's very cute. I mean, now I just saw a redrawn version of this Sherryl Smith had on her channel. She was showing, and I really liked that one as well. It looked very, very pretty. Here's the wheel, and then we have justice. Right? Or is that strength? Hold on. It's got to be. Yes, it's strength. Sorry. So it's force or fortitude, maybe. I don't know exactly. And then we have the hangman. It's a traditional kind of treason hangman, you know, like Judas character with the bags of money. And then we have death. And here's our temperance and the devil. Love this tower. I think this is a great tower, you know, for a simple deck. A lot of my friends that are into minimalist type decks will probably like this, like, you know, Robin over Toadstool Tarot probably might like this deck. Trying to think who else likes minimalist decks. You know, here's the moon and the sun. There's not a lot to focus on, you know. It's the opposite of busy. It's minimalist, almost. And then we have Judgment and Le Monde. So I'm going to show you the pips. That's the ace. I love that. The animal, but the animals going opposite directions, and just very cool. And then these are the actual pentacles. There's the ace of swords. So really cool pips. I enjoy this deck, actually. I didn't like it at first. I had to sit with it for a minute to really appreciate the art style. It wasn't like something I really was crazy about. Now I like it, you know. I think sometimes the more familiar you become with something, the better it looks. Okay. The courts. Interesting court cards, you know. There's the King of Pentacles, Queen. That's the Knight. And then we have a maiden instead of a page, which is really interesting. You know, female page. Or Chevalier. It's a cute little deck. I do like it. It's very, very interesting. So let me know what you think. You know, do you like this? Is this something you would get? Again, I will leave the information down below. I do appreciate you stopping by today. I hope everybody stays well. And I guess until next time, we will talk soon. Love and peace. Bye-bye.